my Lord.
Good morning, Dr. Khaminwa.
Yeah. My Lord, may I say I'm very proud and very happy to have the privilege of appearing before your Lordships. My Lord, before I go on, Justice Musinga, President of the Court of Appeal, we thank you very much for the efforts you have taken to put us in very civilized surroundings. I know what it means to have had to put up such a structure at a very short notice. We remain most grateful to you.
Thank you.
My Lord, may I take this opportunity to congratulate my Lady Justice Okwengu. Lady Justice Okwengu, may I say to you, we remain proud of you. I have had the privilege of appearing before you since the days you were magistrate, a High Court judge, and Court of Appeal. Some of us who have known you for a long time will remain most proud of you, and I convey to you my sincere congratulations and wish you very well. My Lord Justice Tuyot, I equally congratulate you for having been elevated to the Court of Appeal. It was always a pleasure to appear before you when you are High Court judge. I always looked forward to the time I'm going to appear before you, and I was happy with the points you used to raise, questions you used to ask me, to interrogate me, and I look forward to continuing to appear before you. I wish you very well on the bench. My Lords, may I say one or two things? The President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable Mr. Justice, the Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, has filed an application, and I'm inviting you very respectfully, my Lords, that you do not take note of the application that he has made before you at all. My Lord, while he was at Kisumu, he made certain remarks about judges. My Lord, he has failed to get two judges who are involved in this case in the High Court to be sworn in as Court of Appeal judges. That is Justice Udunga and his colleague who have not been sworn in at all. My Lord, when you come to the court, you must come with clean hands. The President has not come to this court with clean hands at all. And I'm humbly urging you that you borrow a leaf from South Africa. You borrow a leaf from India and Pakistan and say to him, no, we shall not hear you. The orders that were made by the Court of Appeal must stand. He has deliberately refused to swear in judges. My Lord, it's my humble submission that when you are coming before a court, you cannot despise a judge and at the same time you appear before a judge and you expect that judge to give you orders at all. May I say, my Lords, when you appear before your Lordships, we come with tremendous humility. We speak politely to you. We praise you. That praising, that humility, and that courtesy that we extend to the court is not for you personally. It's for the good of the entire country of Kenya, to get our people to continue to have confidence in the judiciary and in the administration of justice in our country. And when you have a president who is not obeying court orders, when you have a president who is demeaning judges before the public, This court must stand firm and say to him, no, we shall not hear you. We shall not give you orders at all. Again, I respectfully urge you, you borrow a leaf from India. You borrow a leaf from Pakistan. You borrow a leaf from South Africa. Decline respectfully and say to him, we shall not hear you, and whatever complaints you have, raise those complaints before another court, but not this court at all. My lords, the 2010 Constitution, perhaps before I go on with that, I have made a list, my lords, which I may give you. I have made a list of some authorities or some books I have, which I know that your lordship may not be having them. And I would be prepared to list them to the court through the registrar if that would be. My lords, I have included them in a list of authorities here. If you may permit me to hand them to you.
But be mindful about your time, eh?
No, I know, my lords, as usual, you'll be kind to me.
No, not today, Dr. Khaminwa, Senior Counsel. You have precisely 23 minutes now remaining.
Yes. My lords, the books I have are on constitutional amendments by Yaniv Rosnai, Constitutional and Political Theory by Ernest Wolfgang, a constitutional judge of Germany, Making Constitutions in Deeply Divided Society by Hannah Lerner, Constitutional Amendments by Richard Albert, and an unamendable Constitution by Richard Albert Batil Emra, The Foundations and Constitutions of Constitutional Amendment. There is one book I have not brought to the court, but I'll make it available if the registrar asks me. It's called The Theory of Imperfections in Constitutional Making and Constitutional Amendments.
Yes.
My lords, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 was a response to two things: to the rotten history of this country,
Yes.
and to development of international jurisprudence or global jurisprudence. My lords, those of you who are young may not know that this country has a rotten history. This is set out in two books. One is Kenya, A History Since Independence by Professor Charles Hornsby, Professor of International History, I think, at the University in Australia. The other one is Kenya Between Hope and Despair by Daniel Branch. My lords, Condoleezza Rice was now, I believe, a professor at Stanford University. When she was security advisor to President George Bush, in her new book that has come out, Democracy, Condoleezza Rice, at page 127, there is only one sentence, my lords, which I would like to read to you. At page 217. On Inauguration Day, that's our President Mike Kibaki, told Kenyans that he was inheriting a country badly ravaged by years of misrule and ineptitude. That was a correct statement. There were assassinations in the country. Pinto, J.M. Kariuki, Tom Mboya, William Ouko, and etc. Many assassinations. People died in suspicious circumstances. Some left the country in exile. People like Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Mazrui, they left the country. There was rampant corruption in the country. My lords, the Constitution, the 20th Constitution, was intended to take care of this. The judiciary was not spared. There was no security for judges at all. Some judges, some judicial officers died under suspicious circumstances. These were things that the new Constitution was supposed to take care of. And my lords, if you read the Constitution very carefully, the way I do, you will find that it does take care of certain things. Certain officers are entrenched. The office of the DPP, the office of the Inspector General, the judiciary, devolution, the preamble, the sovereignty of the people, the leadership code, and etc. My lords, all these things were included in the 2010 Constitution to send a message to Kenyans and the whole world. Never again shall we go through this kind of life. Never again shall we go through this. The way the Japanese Constitution has a provisions to the effect that never again shall we have war. The way the Cuban Constitution has a provision, never again shall we go to capitalism. We say to the whole world that never again shall Kenya have this kind of life. And my lord, this is repeated in the Constitution. If I may refer you to Article 255 of our Constitution, dealing with amendments, 255. My lords, if you read 255, 256, and I believe, yes, 255, 256, and 257, it emerges very clearly, my lords, that this Constitution is unamendable. This Constitution is unamendable. And it is not surprising, my lords, that in one of the books, sorry, my lords, we are not as organized as we should be when you are appearing before the Court of Appeal. My lords, if you go through this book I refer to, unconstitutional constitutional amendments, unconstitutional and constitutional amendments, my lords, if you look at page, this is page 236, my lords. Page 236 to page 274. 236 to page 74, Yaniv Rosnai, in his thesis for London School of Economics, he has a heading, Explicit Substantive Unamendability of World Constitutions. Explicit Substantive Unamendability of World Constitutions. My lords, he has set out all the countries that have unamendable war constitutions. And Kenya is one of them. Kenya is one of them. My lords, Kenya is one of them, and I'll read to you at page 258. Page 258. He has set out very clearly that Kenya is one of the countries that has an amendable constitution. And he quotes paragraph, articles 255.
Would you kindly speak to the microphone?
Oh, sorry, my lord. Yes. Paragraph 255 to article 257. Paragraph 255, article 255 to article 257 as unamendable. And the reason he gives different procedures for different provisions, different procedures for different provisions, different provisions for different procedures. And indeed, my lords, when you will look at these articles, when you are writing the judgment, articles 255, 256, 257, you will find they have different procedures for amendments. When you apply them, it's difficult, impossible to carry out effective application. It is cumbersome. It is onerous. You cannot actually carry out into practical terms these provisions at all. My lords, it's my humble submission that one contribution that this court should make to the able judgment that was delivered by our 5 judges, that is Justice Ngugi, Justice Odunga, Justice Teresa Mapeka, Justice Mwita, and Justice Jairus Nga, is for you to strengthen that judgment by making a firm finding or a firm order that the Constitution we have now, the 20th Constitution, is unamendable. My lords, that is not wrong. You will be protecting democratic values of the country. To have, at the moment, a constitution that is unamendable, you are protecting democratic values of the country. There are some people in this country who would like to take us to the old days. We must say to them, no, you will not. We have an unamendable constitution. And an unamendable constitution, there is nothing wrong with that because it is protecting democratic values. My lords, constitutions of the world, whole world, the global kind of development of jurisprudence is towards having constitutions that protect democratic values. And this has been summed up in these 2 books, my lords. My lords, I refer to the books called Constitutions of the World. I believe you must be having a set. There are 4 volumes. They are produced by the Indian jurist M.V. Paile, Constitution of the World. And you find that these constitutions have commonality, separation of powers, the role of the judiciary, the role of the executive, the role of parliament, and they have entrenched provisions in all these constitutions. But also there was an attack on India about basic structures. May I deal with that? My Lord, India has been on the forefront in jurisprudence or international jurisprudence. My Lord, you may remember Bangalore principles, which were brought about by Chief Justice Bhagwati. India is a member of the Commonwealth. We are members of the Commonwealth. What happens in India, we cannot afford to ignore it. We apply Indian authorities from time to time in our courts, and we cannot say something trying to despise India or trying to show that India is different from us. My Lord, with complete respect to my learned friends who said that, that is completely nonsensical. We ourselves have a lot in common in India. India is, as it were, our sister country. We have a significant population of Indian origin in this country who continue to make a significant contribution to the development of this country. So what happens in India is of considerable importance to us as a country. Now, my lords, if you take the basic doctrine, you'll find that it has spread to many countries. It has spread in Asia. It has spread in Africa. It has spread to Caribbean. It is a part of the global development of global jurisprudence development. It is what you can call part of international jurisprudence. Perhaps I should also add, my lords, that we had a very good meeting also in India of lawyers, including judges, and this book was produced of challenges to the legal profession and investment in developing countries. Again, this was in India. Now, the basic doctrine, my lords, can be taken to be part of the definition of the word amendment, which you will find in the New Oxford English Dictionary. Yeah. And my lords, I've just been advised by Valentine Khaminwa that the word amendment has to be, is in singular, is not in plural at all. My lords, I have filed submissions, written submissions. I hope you have got this book, one that is dated this one. Which one is this one? Yes, we filed submissions, my lords, on 23rd for Kenya Human Rights Commission. They should be there. We filed submissions, Kituo cha Sheria, on 24th June. They should be there. My lords, may I say this?
In 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, I'll take a short time, my lords. I don't intend to take much more time than that. May I say this, my lords? My learned friends who appeared for their parent, I listened to them very carefully. And I thought that some of them, whom I happen to know very well, who are great friends of mine, very close to me, and I talked to them from time to time, I got the impression that some of the things that they were submitting to your lordships, they are not things that they really stand for.
They are not what?
Things that they stand for. I happen to know them. Yeah, I thought that they were saying to you things that they themselves don't seem to believe in at all. I happen to know them. Some of them are great friends of mine. I eat with them. I take cups of tea with them. And I know what they stand for. And I thought that when they were addressing your lordships, they were not saying things that they themselves believe in at all. My lord, as a country, we have been unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. We have not had what I can term as selfless politicians at all. The crop of our politicians in this country is very poor. Most of them are job seekers.
The microphone for recording purposes.
Most of them are job seekers. They stand absolutely for nothing. And you can see even when they are campaigning, they do not tell anybody what they would do when they come into power. One gets the impression that all that they are doing is looking for a political office. The nearest politician or politician selfless, for the years I've been in Kenya, the nearest we have is the late Professor Wangari Maathai. I served him as his advocate. I appeared for him in court. This was a great lady. She was selfless in many respects. And the other two I would say, or what the other one I would mention, my lord, is who was selfless, is Kenneth Matiba. My lord, the first group of politicians who brought us Uhuru in this country was selfless. But after that, the politicians who come into power are tribalists. Most of them are tribalists. They are advancing tribal agenda. My lord, what they stand for is really to see that they come into power. And the problems they have are their own personal problems. We have to appreciate that the law has got limits, its own limits. Professor Allott tells us so. The Constitution has got limits. That's what we learn from constitutional jurisprudence. And whatever problems we have in this country have absolutely nothing to do with the Constitution. They have nothing to do with the law. They have something to do with ourselves, and particularly the political class. When it comes to violence, they are the ones who are actually, one can suspect, they are really the ones who are fueling this violence. This is set out in the book of
You have a few seconds, Dr. Amino, please.
Yeah, my lord, may I draw your attention to Interrogating Marginalized Governance by editor Professor George Garner from our university. That is the book I had in mind that I would like to draw your attention to. My lord, may I say thank you very much?
Thank you.
I urge you very respectfully, you throw out the appeal It has no merit. Absolutely none. The submissions that were made before you were pedestrian submissions. Were not in good faith. Instead, my lords, I'm inviting you respectfully, you uphold the judgment of the High Court and you improve on it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senior Counsel. Can we have Senior Counsel Martha Karua? Yes.
May it please the court,